All right, we're now live on TikTok as well as YouTube. We're going to wait a few more moments before we do the global macro update today. We are going to try to make it a little bit shorter. Not going to be going over any of the equities or really any of the crypto. We're just going to be going over the metals because they've been taking too long. It's hard to get it under an hour trying to get over everything. So I think what we're going to do at this point is we're going to take a step back and not do a multi-asset analysis every day of the week. Just because making an hour worth of content every single day is not too difficult, but it's just the question of will people watch it? Will the attention span be there? And the short answer is no. Right now it's not. So that's why we are planning on trying to switch things up, trying to make it a little bit shorter so people are able to come in and actually pay attention for the entire time. Right now, we are not. We're not getting a whole lot of attention in the plus 15-minute mark, which is not even a quarter of the way in. So definitely, we do have to change it up a little bit. Gonna be waiting a few more moments here. I think we're ready to go at this point. Okay, let's get our recorder and let's get the show on the road. Like I said, we're mainly going to be talking about gold and silver. So mainly, I like the price action of gold. I'm just looking for some level of a pullback. We saw our impulse move. Just looking for that pullback. Once we get that pullback, we are ready to go. Hey traders, hopefully you're having a good start to the week. We're going to switch it up a little bit. We're not going to go into the normal global macro update where we do our multi-asset analysis. We'll go over equities, we'll go over currencies, metals, crypto. We were even doing bonds, you name it. But at this point, I think we're going to shorten the videos to hopefully around 10 to 15 minutes, maybe a little bit shorter. And we're going to go over on a daily basis, on a weekday daily basis, we're going to go over specific asset classes or even just specific assets. So instead of doing an hour plus long video every single weekday, we're going to be going over and touching over some key assets that we're going to be looking at. And we're not going to be covering every single asset that we go over on a regular basis because it just takes too much time. So in this new format, we're going to be looking at gold, silver, and the gold and silver ratio. Also, we're going to quickly touch on the WTI Western Texas Intermediate crude oil, just because that is going to be relevant in our commodities analysis. But that's going to be it for today. So it's going to be a little bit shorter. In the comments, let me know if you think that this would be a better situation for you to digest information, or you like the previous hour plus long global macro update where we go over equities, metals, currencies, crypto, you name it, everything goes. Or you like the more structured, shorter, smaller videos, just dabbling in some of the assets that we like to look at. So let's go ahead with this new format. We're going to initially actually look at the gold and silver ratio. Now this was looking like if we are able to hold this level of support, it could have been a head and shoulders formation. That would be a possible pullback within the metal sector, but we did not get that. We're now getting a move to the upside in gold and silver, which means that there's going to be probably a greater appreciation in silver compared to gold. This is what it's showing me. So the reverse head and shoulders that we are currently still holding on the DXY. So if we look at the DXY, that head and shoulders is still valid, meaning that we could reverse. And that would be a situation where the dollar strengthens and we're in a risk-off situation. But in terms of the metals, we do see that the gold and silver ratio is still moving to the downside, indicating that we're still in a metal bull market, in a metal upward trend. So we're going to be looking at continuing the trend on gold as well as silver. That's overall what it's telling me right now. We do have that low here at around 75, but the fact that we broke below this minor level of support does indicate to me that the buyers are still strong, still confident, and they have high conviction that the metals prices will both go up. All right, so let's look on a larger time frame and then work our way down for gold, and then we'll jump right into silver. So before we get into a smaller time frame, let's just take this away. Let's go like this and go on a monthly chart, and we have to understand that we're basically at an all-time high. We did hit 2K in 1980, I believe, 1979, 1980. But overall, we're basically at an all-time high. After we broke 1400, that was the initiation of the massive bullish push. Now we have to remember, this is the previous all-time high. Basically, we're probably going to get some level of either... At this point, I thought it was going to be some level of rejection, but we're not seeing any of that. So I am ideally looking for now a pullback to come back to that zone if we don't get this current trade as a success. And we're going to talk about this ascending wedge that is currently melting to the upside right now, which is not the best in my opinion. Looking at it from the monthly time frame, looking for continuation patterns, because you should be looking for continuation patterns all the way through here. But as of right now, it is creating this ascending wedge, which has freshly broken the resistance and is potentially coming into a new level of support. So let's look at that right now. Well, we do have to understand that there's a major level of support, which is around 1920. We can see that right around there. And then we do have that previous one, which is around 1822 to 1800 is going to be the next key zone of support. So now that we're going into the daily chart, we see that there is some hesitation within the price action, but we're not really seeing that nice impulse corrective and impulse push that we would ideally like to see. We're getting an impulse correction, but there's so much bullish activity that the highs are not retesting this previous resistance zone. The highs are still creating higher lows, indicating that there's still immense amount of buy pressure coming into the market. And for Chuck Dell, yes, this is gold that we're looking at right now, and then we're going to be looking at silver here in a little bit. So on the daily chart, freshly broken out of a key zone at 1980. Let's mark that down right around here. We don't need that many, I guess, like that. I'm just thinking we don't need that many zeros, but I think that's in the other settings. So in short, I view this as an ascending triangle as well as an ascending wedge formation. Let's jump into a smaller time frames and see what we're able to identify within this structure. So I'm going to get my snip and discuss the price action of gold. So we have two structures that I currently see in the market. We have our ascending triangle. We have a wick rejection, wick rejections, which are both type A's. And then you see candle closures all along here, which is a type B. That's your resistance zone. And then you see previous level of resistance turn into support, 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 support. 5 rejections. So that is going to be creating our ascending triangle formation, right? That would be the first structure that we see within this upward price action. The second one, we see candle closure, which is a type B, candle closure, which is type B. And then you see candle closure and wicks, which is a type A/B. And then you see the same level of support get held there. And that's going to be the ascending wedge formation. Now, for both ascending triangles, that's not really perfectly horizontal. Let's just use this as the resistance zone. And then let's just talk about this ascending wedge. Now, everyone knows the ascending triangle formation is bullish. You get higher lows and a horizontal level of resistance get held multiple times, and once you break this key level of resistance, especially if you validate that previous resistance as a new level of support, that's going to be a really good opportunity to look for buy opportunities right around here. Or if you get a candle closure here, stop entry above the candle closure, validating that zone as a new level of support. That, I'm sure we all know. This ascending wedge is what I'm looking at more so than the triangle. And we see this resistance 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's going to be that zone right over there. And what we're looking to see the price do is we're going to move to the upside, and we see it squeezing to the upside. A lot of people look at ascending wedges as a bearish opportunity, sort of like that. But I view them also as bullish opportunities if they break to the upside and retest. We saw BTC do this exact same thing. We saw a move to the upside, a consolidation, and then an extreme rally towards the upside to further the momentum. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. So what we're ideally wanting to be seeing is a pullback back to this previous resistance to form a new level of support. Once that has been created, I'm looking for opportunities to long. Very, very simple. In terms of the structure. So let's go into a smaller time frame. This is the 4 hours. So this is now the 1 hour time frame. So what would we need to see in order for us to look for long opportunities? Well, let's get a projection, something like, just looking for a possible opportunity. Something like that maybe. So let's see if that will do. And quite a bit smaller. Kind of like that. That would be, in my opinion, a really good situation for us to find ourselves in. And then you would be using this previous resistance right around here as a new level of support, although that would be an ascending zone. So let's delete that. And let's actually do it properly. You'd be seeing this zone as a key level of support. So let's get like that. That zone would be a key level of support, and then you might find a descending zone like that. That would be your symmetrical triangle. You could find an ascending zone, and then a horizontal zone, creating a ascending triangle, whatever the case may be. But that would be the opportunity that I'd want to see in order to look for longs. I want to see this previous resistance acting as a new level of support for me to look for opportunities to the upside. I think right now it had its main impulsive push to the upside, and it would be nice to see a small pullback. If it continues to rally, not great, but I will look for continuation patterns. But that would be the ideal situation that I would want to find myself in. Is I want to see the price hold this zone as a level of support for me to look for opportunities to enter long on gold, because I do think it's going to continue towards the upside. Both are doing pretty well. Do you have any master classes? I do not have any master classes, but what we do have is a subscription-based education platform called Performante Premium that allows people to get an understanding and get education on how we navigate in the financial markets. We do trade gold, silver, but we also trade in the indexes, so the S&P, NASDAQ. We also trade heavily in crypto. That is going to be our focus, is we do think that due to the monetary uncertainty in the global money printing world that we live in, not just the states, but we look at not just money printing, but also very, very, very cheap credit, where Japan, Sweden, Germany all have negative interest rates, whereas the United States has 25 basis points of 0.25% in terms of the federal funds rate, which is extremely cheap. And the last time we had this easy money, easy credit system was in the late 40s and 50s and early 60s, and then we had increasing inflation from the late 60s. In the 70s, we had extreme inflation, and I think that's what we're seeing right now in the next couple of years or decade here. So that's my personal opinion in terms of the global macro standpoint, and that's why I'm so bullish on gold, silver, as well as cryptos, although right now cryptos is considered a risk on asset, more correlated with the S&P than gold. Just a little bit of a heads up there. So that's going to be on gold. We're going to be looking for opportunities around 1990. So right around here is where we're going to be looking for opportunities for the price to hold a key level of support and for us to look for possible continuation patterns by buying gold, because we do think that it's going to further move towards the upside. So how much is it? So it is, let's check here. We were doing it monthly, but we're doing it quarterly at this point, just because it allows people to have a little bit more time with the platform. So we did it as $50 per month, and it's right now $149.96 USD quarterly for 3 months. I just wanted to make sure I didn't say 150. It's $149.96 for 3 months. So yeah, is it a class or an interactive like this where you're live? So I go live every weekday. So if you are with the Performante Premium members or even just in our Discord, I do announce every single weekday. Like we can see right here, I'll be going live on YouTube and TikTok for the daily market update in 2 minutes. And I do this around 11 to noon every single weekday. So we kind of changed the structure right now because previously it was over an hour long. We went through the S&P, Russell 2000, NASDAQ, the VIX, global equities, looking at the Japanese Nikkei 225, ASX, the Australian stock market, DAX, and the either TSX or FTSE 100. And then we went over the currencies. We went over the DXY, which is the US dollar currency index. And then we went over our FX analysis, just seeing what's doing well, what's not doing well, risk on, risk off, all that stuff. And then we go over commodities. So we look over gold, silver, we look over gold and silver ratio, and Western Texas Intermediate crude oil as well. And that would basically be the global macro update. And then we go over to crypto. So we look at Bitcoin, Ethereum. We look at the tools that we use to understand the cryptocurrency market. And then we look over a bunch of alts. And if you are part of our premium membership, you would then get information on what alts we're looking at on a daily basis. Like this morning, let's just take a little picture here. So we see right now, this morning at 9:02 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, just talking about people holding Link, and I specifically said VeChain is looking pretty decent right now, looking like a decent opportunity. And we've also said in the past, let's just zoom back here. We're talking about, I think this is BNB. Yeah, this is BNB, previous key level of resistance, creating a nice new level of support with a descending zone, squeezing and contracting the price. So we do talk about opportunities that we don't present within the public chats for sure. When we talk about BNB, we talk about Link, we talk about a bunch of different altcoins. So, and this is XRP. So we're seeing retest at 24,966 would be a really good opportunity. So stuff like that, right? So we do provide really solid analysis on a daily basis for the alts that we're looking at. This is that Ethereum call. So this is the Ethereum call at 325 that we said. So we said once it goes above 325, let's just get it out here. So this is on July 30th. We can see July 30th at 10 a.m. I'm still eyeing up Ethereum long above 325 mark. So basically, I'm still eyeing up to buy Ethereum above $325. So once it breaks above $325, we were looking to enter. This is $325 right now. Let's see what the current price is really quickly just to get an understanding of where it is. Ethereum right now is $387, right? So we can see it went up to over $400 in that move towards the upside. So we do provide some really solid analysis for people who are wanting to learn more about the cryptocurrency market. Can you attach a link? I'd like to be a part of this. Yeah, no problem. So if you go to performante.ca, so performante.ca, this is our website right here. And this is where you can find the Discord link. So you go there, and then you go World Crypto, and then it says join Discord. Day or night, we're available to help. And then we do have people on our team that are on different time frames or time zones that allow us to stay active, or the team can stay active for pretty much 24 hours of the day, which is pretty awesome. So if you're new to crypto, if you want to know how we go about navigating through the cryptocurrency market or the global macro market, definitely don't hesitate. Ask questions. We are here to help. And like I said, we do provide a premium membership for people who are willing to spend the time, money, effort, energy, dedication, persistence to learning the craft of financial literacy and trading, because it's definitely something that takes time to learn. And you can learn the right way. You can learn by basically starting off paper trading, understanding the framework, understanding the foundation, and then putting money in, or you just, gamble, put money in, lose money, and then realize that it's not as easy as it seems, because trading really is not as easy as it seems. Looks like it's just a bunch of lines, but there's a lot more going into an analysis than just really lines. So gold still looks like it's pumping. Like I said, that 1995-ish zone is going to be the 1993, somewhere around there is going to be that key level that I'd like to see the price come back to before we look for an opportunity to the upside. And then let's just look for possible take profits here. So we're going to go the size of the triangle or wedge. We go here. We go horizontal ray. And symmetrically, that would be the next profit target at 2050, which is a whole pretty round number as well. So let's just go 2050 right on the dot to make it the most even possible. And there we go. So we got a decent amount of space. Ideally, in a perfect world, we would get that retest, and then you'd be looking for either a stop loss just below the previous low right here, or you could be a little bit more aggressive in your stop losses if you're going to get an entry right there and just put it above this zone. So then you might have a couple entries that you might have to hit up. So if that goes and you get wicked out and you get another entry, you still got a risk reward of 5-1, which is absolutely phenomenal. So we'll see where it goes. I don't want to just randomly enter. I want to make sure I am systematic in the way that I'm approaching the market every single time. And right now, to me, it just does not seem like it's a entry that I feel comfortable entering. I'd rather have a much better risk reward down here. And if it gives me something a little bit different, maybe on the 30-minute chart, if it consolidates, and if it's going to give me something where it's going to go and just squeeze like that, that might be the trade that I have to take. And then the stop loss, instead of down here, will be up here, and then that take profit will be the same. So we don't exactly know how it's going to go. We just had a huge impulse push to the upside, and like always, market moves in waves. Impulse push corrective, impulse push corrective, and we just had an impulse push. How do you know that? We just broke key levels of resistance, not just this ascending zone, but this horizontal zone as well, around 1980. So that was a major impulse push to the upside. It could continue, but we're looking for that nice contraction, that nice consolidation, and that nice pullback before we get the next impulse push to the upside. You could draw an ascending zone to create a possible descending triangle formation. We don't exactly know just yet, but in a perfect world, that is what we would be looking for after this strong impulsive push. So that's going to be the discussion on gold. We're now going to go on to a little bit of discussion on silver. Silver looks a little bit more noisy, a little less ideal, because gold looks really well respected. Where silver does look very well respected would be, let's just take this, is the 12-hour chart. And I'm sure if we had between a 6 and a 12-hour chart, it would work, but we can't see the 6-hour chart had candle closures above this 2463 range, whereas on the 12-hour chart, we see it was just a wick moving to the upside, getting rejected, and coming right back down. So we know that this 2463 range is a key zone for this ascending triangle formation, and if we are expecting a pullback on gold, I would ideally like to see a pullback to around the, let's say, 25 to high 24s on silver, because then that would be a validation of this previous resistance as a new level of support on a larger time frame. Now we do see this wick is a candle closure on the 6-hour and below. So 6-hour, 4-hour, very key candle closure that was pushing right above the zone. But we can see overall key level of resistance all along that 2456 range, other than this one outlier, which is a wick on a 12-hour chart. So if we're going to see some bearishness on gold to retest a key level of support before moving to the upside, we'd ideally like to see that on silver as well. Now we do have to understand silver is going to be a higher beater. It's going to be a asset that's going to move at a faster rate. So it moved even greater to the upside. So we had more appreciation on silver than gold, but we are, if gold's going to move down, looking for silver to move further to the downside, holding its previous level of resistance right around 2460. So if it's able to hold that zone, that's going to be really an opportunity for a possible trade, in my opinion. Could come down a little bit higher. We don't exactly know. Let's go to the 12-hour here again. This is that main zone that I want to see. So we could see a pullback just to here. We don't exactly know, which would be at around 2496. But the main thing I want to be keeping an eye on is going to be the gold chart, because if gold is moving to the upside, we're just going to get some continuation on silver, in my opinion. We're in a metals bull market, and when gold does well, silver does exponentially well during these environments. So I'm going to be looking at the market in that way. So let's look at a smaller time frame. of silver. Also, just to keep in mind that $26 range is a pretty important level that we do have to keep an eye on. Didn't perfectly get that. There we go. But ideally, in a perfect world, we would get that pullback that we're looking for. Kind of like we got right here on our move to the upside. We got a push, and then we got a pullback, holding of support, and then we got our trend, right? So right now, we just got our push. So let's go like this. Just nice, quiet, and then let's go like that. Because we had a lot of quiet there for a little while. Wow, that's a pretty big move. So let's just see if this is going to... Kind of like that. This is, I think, what I'm ideally going to be seeing, is something where you get a move to the upside. Ideally, it wouldn't go all the way here, but if it did, that wouldn't be the end of the world. And then you might have to readjust to this ascending zone. But overall, that is what I would ideally like to see for silver. Gold looks a lot more respected. This doesn't give me any sort of squeeze or... Let's just take everything off and see if we can kind of find something. But what I really like to look for me personally, is triangles. So descending, ascending, or symmetrical. That was a really poorly drawn symmetrical triangle. Let's just go like this. So these are the three triangles that I like to look for most. And then I look for wedges. And really, that's about it. Bases, which is horizontal zones. And then you could also look for head and shoulders, as well as reverse head and shoulders. But really, that's about all the structures I look for. And when we look at this, let's go to the daily. We know that we're in a massive bullish push to the upside. We want to make sure that we understand that this key zone right around there is a major level that we have to understand exists. And that's why we put that zone right above where we currently are for the price. And then when we look at the 2-hour chart, we not only see this massive rejection that came down instantly right here, but we also see the price coming back up and potentially hitting that zone again. So I don't really see anything that's absolutely beautiful right now. We know that this is a key level of resistance that we do have to keep in mind. And other than that, I don't really see anything that's great. This is that ascending zone that we drew in previously, which connects the higher lows, which is well respected. So if we are going to reject that zone yet again, we could see an ascending triangle formation come into fruition for silver. But that would be something that we are still too early to tell just yet. We don't want to be too optimistic or project our bias onto the chart too much. Laven says, does it require any software downloads? Nope. So you need to, well, yes, but they're all free. The first thing that would be required or that would be recommended is downloading Discord. It's kind of like Telegram. It's more geared towards video gaming, but it was very, very useful in our home and for us to be able to construct our content in a digestible way. So definitely check out Discord. Like I said, you can join our Discord absolutely for free. And then another platform that I would highly recommend using, it's absolutely for free as well, but it's not too expensive to pay for it and you get a lot of benefits. And that's the charting platform I use called tradingview.com. Absolutely the best charting platform I've ever used in my entire life. And then you'll also need a brokerage account if you're going to be using... depending on what country, you could use Binance, you could use Bybit. If you use a VPN, you can use it in the States for Binance or for Bybit, sorry. There's Binance futures that don't really acquire VPN, which is really nice. And then for things involving metals, Forex, or indexes, you could use Interactive Brokers is a really good one. You could use CMC. There's a lot of other options, but Interactive Brokers, I would say, is a pretty decent exchange or broker to use. So silver isn't really lining up to be as beautiful of an option compared to gold. Gold just made another move to the upside there. Still absolutely rallying. So I don't really love to trade the smaller time frame pullbacks. So we'll see where it goes. It'd be nice to get that pullback like we've talked about. But if gold keeps on running and we don't get really an entry on that, silver might be the thing we have to enter. That's that high. And let's just go like that. I did draw a little sloppy ascending zone right there. That was a previous resistance turned into support, but I really wanted to see the price go above 24.80. And once I did, it absolutely shot through the roof, so I did not get much of a chance to enter, but that's just how it sometimes goes. Unless you're going to put stop entries every single time to enter, you're probably not going to be able to catch every single opportunity. Like this pumped at 6 into 7 in the morning. So I would have just been basically getting up at around 6 o'clock. So I could have been watching it theoretically. I did not catch it, so that's just how it goes. All right. Sorry for that little bit of the wait there. My phone was just letting me know that it was dying. So that's going to be gold and silver. Like I said, ideally we want to see a little bit of a pullback on gold to around 1996. Under 2K would be ideal for an entry with the support at around 1992. That would be really nice to see. And then on silver, I don't, to be completely honest, see anything absolutely beautiful in terms of a structure. This was pretty noisy right here. Even if you're going on to a larger time frame, it doesn't really show any beautiful structure in the market. I don't really love it, so I didn't really trade anything with it. And then all we're looking for, possibly, ideally, is a pullback to around 24.70. That would be a really good area for us to look for an opportunity to long in. Or if you want to be a little bit more conservative, you could just use this entire zone as a possible level of support, because we see type A's with candle closures and type B's with candle closures at the bottom and type A with wick rejections. So that's going to be my analysis on gold and silver. But that would be the ideal situation, in my opinion. All right, now we're going to go on to WTI crude oil, and then we're going to complete it from there. Not a lot to discuss on crude oil here. The main zone that I want to see the price pass is 39.65. We do see it topping, it looks like, where we see that as a main horizontal zone. And then we see the price create very minimal higher highs, and it's failed to make any higher high. And now it's kind of coming to the downside. And this would make sense because usually gold and oil are negatively correlated. If gold's going to go up quite a bit, usually crude oil is going to go down. That's just because gold is a safe haven asset. It's used for people in times of monetary uncertainty, and oil is used in an environment where there's high economic activity. People are producing items, people are producing goods, people are transporting them, people are transporting themselves. So there's more economic activity. So if this starts to move down, equities start to move down, that would definitely be a very risk-off situation, and I think gold, silver is still considered a risk-off asset, so money will flow into them, and it's just a matter of will BTC be considered to be more like SPX or like gold? Big question. So until we break 96 or this main level of resistance, I just don't think it's worth trading, just because look how much room that there is to move, and look how much noise that there's going to be. It's just, in my opinion, not really worth it unless you're like trying to pick a top or something. I would rather look for continuation plays after breaking key zones. That's just how I like to do it. I don't love picking exact tops and bottoms. I'd rather just look for continuation after it's broken a certain point. So on crude oil, we're ranging between 42 and 39. So I'm not really going to be doing anything until it breaks one of those zones. My bias is going to be breaking down, but we'll see. I've been following gold and silver at put a trade on each based off what you've been practicing and managing to catch both bull runs. Yeah, that's awesome to hear, Christian. That is sweet. I believe we've been doing very well on the gold calls and silver calls. The silver calls especially. Silver has been awesome. We've been really benefiting from the appreciation of silver. So I guess I'm a little bit biased on silver longs, but it's not just out of randomness or my liking of the color or its utility. It's mainly because of the gold and silver ratio and how just crazy high it is, and where the average is compared to where it is now. It's substantially lower than 77, so I do think that it still has a lot more room to go. Man, it's not stopping, hey? Yeah, I got out and I'm still looking to get in on gold and silver here. Gold, I really wanted to get that entry. Pulling back here. Didn't want to get that one. I wanted to see a little bit more of a validation further down because we don't really see anything in 1992. It was like 1989, 88 was the key zone that I was looking at, which didn't get hit. So if it doesn't come in my zone, I just don't enter because then it's chasing. Your risk reward isn't great. It's just not really worth it. I've just learned to stay patient. If it's not in my zone, I just don't touch it. Simple as that. You might not make money that certain time, but you also won't lose money if you're wrong. And when I chase, when I'm too late to a trade, and I try to just say, oh, screw it, I'll just enter even though it's not where I want to be, it either usually goes to my zone and then continues going up, and then I just could have gotten at a better point, or it just goes down and I just entered at a really shitty point when I could have maybe moved my stop to break even for something. So more times than not, it makes sense to patiently wait for that perfect opportunity that you're looking for, and I think that's the situation we're in right now. So thank you very much for watching. I'm really happy, Christian, that you've been doing well on the gold and silver trades. We're going to hopefully get more of them. They've been really well structured, well played out. I couldn't ask for more. And that is the goal, basically. Just rinse and repeat, doing that over and over and over again. That's how we make our money, baby. So that's going to be the goal. Like I said, if we don't see something that we're going to be really interested in, we're just not going to enter. Simple as that. And we don't really see anything on silver just yet. And on gold, we're looking for an entry at 1996, 1994. Somewhere around there would be a really good opportunity, in my opinion. So we'll see where it goes from there. Until next time, have a good one. It was a little bit longer than I anticipated, around 37 minutes, but it's better than over an hour, and I hope you enjoyed it. Got some good knowledge, got some good information, and I hope that you have a good rest of the day. Until next time, have a good one, folks.